So in today's class, we will discuss about classes, objects, and methods. What does it mean by class? What does it mean by object? And what does it mean by method? Okay. In my opinion, class means anything, any real-time entity you can make like a class. Okay, class describes the behavior of any real-time entity. Like you can take a vehicle, you can take a person, you can take anything. You can take an employee, you can take a TV, you can take a bag, you can take a table, anything. You can take any real-time entity and you can make it like a class. Class will describe the behavior. Behavior means what? Behavior means some of the properties it contains and some of the actions it will do, right? So if I take a human being, so what kind of properties he will contain? What kind of data he will contain? Every person contains a name, right? And everyone contains a age, okay? And they will live in some location, okay? So there is some address, if they are doing something, some designation will be there. Like that, every person contains these kind of data, these kind of properties they will contain, name, age, location, designation, something like that. And what kind of actions a person can do, a human being can do. So I'm talking, right? I can talk, I can listen, I can walk, I can sing, I can dance, like that. I can do some actions, okay? So those actions will become methods in my class. The data what I am containing will become variables in the class. Those are all nothing but properties in the class. Okay? Like that, you can take anything and you can make it like a class. The entire behavior and the actions that real-time entity can do will become methods in the class. So each class contains variables and methods. Variables are there to hold the data, and methods are there to perform the actions what the real-time entity can do. If I take a vehicle, I can define these properties, right? For a vehicle, there is a brand name, Honda, Hyundai, Maruti, something like that. Some brand name will be there, and model, which color, which year it got delivered, something like that. So these kind of information we will check, right? Like how much cc it is, what is the mileage of the vehicle. So these are all the data we will inquire about. So these are all will become variables in my class. And what kind of action a car can do? It can move, right? It can move from one place to another place. That's the main action it can do. So that will become the method. So what are all the actions you can do that will become methods in the class, and what is the behavior you are containing, what is the data you are trying to hold that will become variables in your class. Class means it's like a blueprint of an object. It will just describe it. There is no real-time existence for the class. Using class, you can create objects, and objects will do the will do all the actions. Okay, so I described class, right? Now I will give you the definition of object. If someone asks me what is the definition of class, I will tell them like this. Class describes object. That's the definition for class. If someone asks what is the definition of object, I will tell in this way. The real-time existence of a class are nothing but objects. Real-time existence. So I will explain it with this example. I have a construction plan, and with that construction plan I can build 100 construction, right? So the construction plan is nothing but class. It will just describe how the construction look like, okay? But you cannot live within the construction plan. That is just a blueprint. Using that you can build the construction. Object is nothing but the construction itself. So using that construction plan, I can build 100 constructions, right? So those 100 are nothing but objects. So if I have a class, I can build 100 objects, 1000 objects, n number of objects I can build, okay? That class will just describe the behavior of the object, and the object is nothing but real-time existence for the class. Using that map, using that construction plan, they are building the construction, right? The construction is nothing but the object. The construction plan is always similar to our class. Okay. Till now, is it clear for everyone? If someone asks what is class, what is object, can you tell that? If you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask.
Yeah.
Do you have any doubts, Kalyani?
No, I'm good actually.
Okay. Nagarani?
I'm good.
Okay then, yeah. So if you don't have doubts, just ping me in the chat. Okay, don't unmute. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can mute and ask. Otherwise, just ping me in the chat. Yeah. This is about class, object, and methods also are covered. So if you take an employee class, see this. So every employee contains some employee ID, every employee contains some name, every employee can contain, he will contain company name, right? So they all will become variables in the class. One minute. Now, OOPs concept. OOPs concept means object-oriented programming. OOP means object-oriented programming. There are mainly 6 concepts in OOPs. So, in OOPs means object-oriented programming. There are mainly 6 concepts in OOPs, and in that 2 are very, very important for our Selenium framework developments. Those 2 are polymorphism, inheritance. Okay, let me start with polymorphism. What does it mean by polymorphism? So, polymorphism is a Latin word, I guess. It's a mix of 2 words actually. Polymorphism. Poly means many, morphism means forms. The typical meaning of polymorphism is one thing exists in many forms. But coming to our terminology, polymorphism means having same name for more than one method. If you have same name for more than one method, then that is known as polymorphism. There are 2 types of polymorphism in Java. One is method overloading, second one is method overriding. So, yeah.
I had a question. Can you explain the examples also with the polymorphism regarding this? Otherwise,
Yeah, I'm going to tell the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why I've opened this class.
Oh.
Yeah, I will definitely explain with the example. You don't worry about it. Yeah. Polymorphism means, I told you, right, one thing existing in many forms. In our Java terminology, having same name for more than one method. See this, there is a method called add to add 2 numbers, to add 2 integer numbers, int A and int B, and it is returning. So if I add a int number and a float number, here also I am doing addition only, right? So ideally I should provide the same name. I should provide the same name, add. But if polymorphism is not allowed in Java, I cannot do that, right? If I use add name for one method, definitely I should use some other name if polymorphism is not allowed in Java. But luckily polymorphism is allowed, so I can use the same name for more than one method. So having same name for more than one method is known as polymorphism. But one thing you need to remember, with the same name and with the same type of arguments, I cannot declare a method. Like if I try to declare a method like this, it doesn't allow me. See, I use the same name add and I use same arguments int a int b, here also int a int b. Then he is giving me error, rename the method add. But why is he not giving me the error if I use int a and float b? Means I changed one of the type of the argument. So if you wanna achieve polymorphism, so there are two types actually. This is the first type. This is known as method overloading. So if I use the same name by varying either one of the type of the argument, here I changed the type. Here I have int a int b, here I have int a float b, right? So by changing either one of the type of the argument or by increasing number of the arguments. See this. Here I have int a int b, here I have int a int b int c. So by increasing or by varying number of arguments or by changing one of the type of the argument, if I use the same name, that is known as method overloading. But I cannot use same name with same number of arguments. The problem here is if I have same name with same number of arguments, while calling the method, there is an ambiguity. See this, if I use same name, how can he make a call to the respective method? Means based on the number of arguments only. Here I am calling add and there are 4 methods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then how can he take the decision? Means he can take the decision based on the number of arguments. I said 2, 3, 4. 3 are int numbers, right? 3 are integers. So he will make the call to this method. See this. This is highlighted. That means call will go to this method. If I give 2, 3, both are int values. So he will make the call to the first method. So if I make one of the value as 3, if I give 3.2f, that means that I gave second value, I gave a float value here. Then he will make the call to the second method. So based on number of arguments, even I use the same name, based on number of arguments or based on the type of the argument, he is taking the call. Which method has to be called? He is deciding based on the number of arguments, based on the arguments I have provided. That's why he doesn't allow you to give you the same name with same number of arguments. If you give same name and the same number of arguments for 2 methods, there is an ambiguity, right? How can he decide which method has to be called? That's why he doesn't allow you to provide same name with same number of arguments. You should change either number of the arguments or one of the type of the argument. Then only method overloading will be achieved in Java. So method overloading means this one only, having same name for more than one method by varying either number of arguments or one of the type of the argument. This is known as method overloading. Till now, is it clear for everyone?
Yeah, we are good.
Okay. Kalyani, Riyaz.
Actually, polymorphism and method overloading both are same, right? Like definitions?
No. Polymorphism, yeah. In typically, polymorphism means having same name for more than one method. Okay, that's it. Okay. In polymorphism, there are 2 types. One is method overloading, second is method overriding. Okay. If someone asks what is method overloading, you will say that having same name for more than one method by varying number of arguments or by varying one of the type of the argument. So how are
Okay.
you going to achieve also you will mention. If someone asks what is method of overloading, but if someone asks what is polymorphism, you will simply say that having same name for more than one method. Okay.
Okay.
Method overloading is one of the type actually in polymorphism.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Second one is method overriding. Okay. If you wanna understand method overriding, first I need to explain inheritance concept. What does it mean by inheritance? Why do we need this? That also I will explain with some examples, then you can get it. Okay. So assume that there is a men class to describe the behavior of men, and there is a woman class to describe the behavior of women. Okay. So a man contains a name, he contains age. I'm just putting two. I don't wanna define so many things. I just wanna put two. And this guy can walk. This guy can talk. So, and these are common for women also, right? Women also contains name, they contain age, they can walk, they can talk, right? And assume that for this example, I am assuming that only men can drive the cars. Okay, I am not saying that women cannot drive. For this example, I am considering like this: public void drive, and I am assuming women can cook. They can only cook. I am assuming like that. Only for this example. Yeah. So men can drive, women can cook. So these are all their specific actions. These are all their specific actions. But walk, talk, name, age, both are common for. So these are all common for both men and women. Okay. Then why am I declaring them? Why am I putting them in two places? It's not good, right? In Java, always they are trying to achieve reusability of the code. So if something is common between two classes, why should we keep it in both the places? It's not good, right? That's why this inheritance concept came into the picture. What inheritance will do means, if some class extends other, the entire behavior of the parent class will come to the child class. If I extend a class, then the entire behavior of the class will come to me. Okay, I can access the methods of the parent class. I can use the variables of the parent class. That's the advantage in inheritance. So, if I use inheritance, I will define this class in this way. So, before segregating them into men and women groups, we all are human beings, right? So that's why I created a class called human. Since we are human, we have name, age, and we are walking and we are talking. So that's the behavior of a human being. It's not a behavior which is specific to either men or women. Since we are human beings, we contain a name, we contain age, we can walk and we can talk. So that's the behavior of a human being. So that's why you should not keep it in the woman class. You can simply say like this. You can remove entire implementation here. If you wanna get all the methods and variables, you can simply say extends human. So extends is a keyword. We will use it for achieving inheritance. If you use extends keyword, then woman will become subclass of human. Now human is the parent class, woman is the subclass. and woman class gets entire behavior of the human class. So woman can, if I create object for woman along with the cook method, I can access walk and talk, and I can use this name and age variable. That's the beauty in inheritance. Inheritance, the concept of inheritance is subclass will get the behavior of superclass. So here woman is the subclass, human is the parent class. Since I am extending human class, I can use the entire behavior of the human class. The same thing will happen here. I don't keep the code twice. I will simply say extends human. So that's the advantage of inheritance. If you find some common behavior between two classes or among more than two classes, what will we do means you will create a parent class and you will define entire common behavior there, and you will extend that class in all subclasses. In all the classes you will extend it so that all the subclasses can use the behavior of the parent class. There is no need to define the same code again and again at multiple places. You can place it at single place, and by extending that class, all other classes can use that. This is inheritance. Is it clear? What does it mean by inheritance? You get it? Okay. Good. So if you don't ask any questions, I will assume that you are getting it. Yeah. Now I will explain you method overriding. So if I wanna explain method overriding, you should understand inheritance. That's why I explained inheritance first. Now I will explain you what does it mean by method overriding. When do we need it? Method overriding will come in the context of inheritance only. If you have both parent and subclass, then only we can talk about this method overriding. Method overriding is having same name with same number of arguments in both subclass and superclass. Like I have in human I have talk, right? So in talk method I have some implementation. It's printing the message talking. Okay, that's the behavior. In this way we implemented this talk method. So let me create object for woman class. Woman object equal to new woman. Obj dot talk. So talk I can access because woman is extending human. So in human I have talk method, so I can use it. Let me run this. So what it is printing? Talking it is printing because in talk method I am printing talking. System.out.println means that message will be printed to the console. Okay, whatever the message I will give you here, no, that will be printed to the console. That's the purpose of the system.out.println. Okay. Now, since I placed the talking here, if I call talk method, then that is printing. Okay, that's good. But I don't want to print talk method. I don't want to print talking. I want to print article. I want to print don't talk. I don't talk. Something like that. So woman class is, so we are printing talking, right? But in woman class, I just want to print I don't talk. So woman category, they are feeling like they don't want to talk. That's why they wanna print the message I don't talk. If I call talk method, it has to print me like I don't talk. So that's why I changed the implementation to I don't talk. So I don't talk is coming. Now I will explain you the problem. Now the problem will come in this case. So obj2, I am creating new object. So man is also extending human class, right? So he can also, so man object also can access this talk method. For him also I don't talk will come because I placed the implementation in human class. So both will access this talk method and it will print I don't talk. But the complexity will come in this case. Man is trying to print the message I am talking or talking. Some message you wanna print. In contradictory to it, woman is trying to print the message I don't talk. Okay, both are not trying to print the same message. One is trying to print talking message, other is trying to print I don't talk message. So if I keep the message in a talk method, then that will be applicable for both the classes, right? So I should not keep I don't talk here. It should be talking only. Okay. So if I put talking method, then both will print talking method. Both will print talking method. So method overriding concepts will come into the picture in this use case. So if I wanna apply some specific behavior to a particular class, I should not keep it at the parent level. If I keep it at the parent level, what will happen? It is applicable for all other classes also. So it's good to override that method. Overriding means you can implement that method again in your class. So what I supposed to do is I need to copy this method from the parent class and I can keep it in the child class and I can change the definition here. I am not talking. Now see this. If I run this, woman class, woman object is printing I am not talking message and men class is printing talking message. Our end goal is achieved, right? So if you have an implementation in the parent class and if you don't like that implementation, you should not change the implementation in the parent class directly. If you change the implementation in parent class, then that will be applicable for all other child classes also. So you should not touch the parent class implementation. What you supposed to do? You can copy the same method in your specific class and you can change the implementation within the method. Then if you create object for that class and if you call the method, then the child class implementation will be called instead of parent class implementation. So that's why it is known as method overriding. Since we are changing the definition, we are overriding the definition, that's why it is known as method overriding. If you clearly observe, I use the same name for both the methods. For in human class also talk method is there, in woman class also talk method is there. So I am using the same name, right? That's why it is known as polymorphism. But you need to observe one thing. Both the definition have same name and same arguments. Here also no arguments are there, here also no arguments are there. But they should not be in the same class. If they are in same class with the same name and same number of arguments, it doesn't allow you. It is allowing because one is in parent class, other is in subclass. So if someone asks what is method overriding, you should tell them that having same name for more than one method in both superclass and subclass is known as method overriding. They should not be in the same class. They will contain the same name and same number of arguments, but one will reside in the parent class, other will sit in subclass. The definition you should tell. The main advantage of method overriding is, in case of inheritance, whatever the methods are implemented, the same behavior will be applicable for all the subclasses. All the subclasses which are extending it now, the behavior will be applicable. So I extended a class in 10 classes. Okay, I have 10 subclasses. 9 subclasses are fine with the existing implementation, but one class is not happy with the existing implementation. He wanna add something. He wanna implement it in new way. So then what he's supposed to do? He has to copy the same method name, method signature in his class, and he can override the definition. He can write his own definition. So using method overriding, if you don't like the implementation of the parent class, you can override it. You can change it. Is it clear?
I'm good.
Okay. Kalyani, if you have any doubts, don't hesitate to ask me. No problem.
Yeah,
I will
I'm
explain
good.
again. You're good, right? Yeah. Okay, nice. So everyone is fine. So we covered two most important concepts in OOPs concepts. One is polymorphism, other is inheritance. So inheritance means getting the behavior of the superclass by extending it. Polymorphism means having same name for more than one method. There are two types: method overloading, and method overriding. Method overloading means having same name for more than one method by varying number of arguments or by varying one of the type of the argument. And method overriding means having same name in both superclass and subclass with same method signature. Now, third concept is encapsulation. Encapsulation means hiding the data from outside world. So hiding the data from outside world means if I make them as public, so your data is there, right? So hiding the data means hiding your variables. Data will reside, data will come and sit in these variables only, right? So hiding the data means hiding the variables only. Hiding the data from outside world is the book definition for encapsulation. They will say like that. The inner meaning of it is, if I keep the variables as public, what will happen? In other class, in the test method, I can directly call them encapsulation dot sorry, let me create object for it. Object equal to new encapsulation. Object dot id. So I am directly able to call it, right? obj.id. So you should not allow other classes to access your variables directly. So that is encapsulation concept. What encapsulation is telling us means keep them as private. If you keep something as private, only within the class you can use it. So since I declared them as private, it is not allowing me to access it in the other class. What it is saying, change the visibility to package. So that means he is asking us to remove that private method. Otherwise, replace obj id with the setter. Setter means this set method. set ID method is there, right? So he is saying replace dot ID with the set ID method. So what encapsulation is telling means keep the variables as private and provide getters and setters for the method. So if I keep them as private, I cannot use it, right? If I don't use it, then what's the need of putting the data? I have a name and I stored the name, and if I don't give access for the name variable from the outside classes, then what's the use? What's the meaning of putting some value there? If no one can use it, why can I? So what's the purpose of storing the data, right? So that's why what encapsulation is suggesting means instead of keeping them the variables as public, declare them as private and provide a getter and setter. The purpose of getter is it will give the access to the value within it. Setter will set the value of it. So using set ID, I can set an ID to this variable. Using get ID, I can fetch the value. I can read the value. I can read the ID value from the object. Like that for name also. There is a get name and set name. So instead of giving direct access to the variables, you can provide getter and setter method. So if I give direct access, people may corrupt the data. People will corrupt the data. That's why encapsulation is telling us don't declare the variables as public. If you declare them as public, in other classes also they can directly use it. Don't give direct access to the variables. Always give access to the variables to the method. Methods is nothing but getters and setters. So encapsulation is telling us don't give direct access to the variables. It's a theory concept actually. In real time, by default, we will define all the variables as private only. So that's why it's not applicable for us in the real time. In most of the cases, we will declare them as private only. The main concepts which are needed for us is polymorphism and inheritance. We will use them much in our framework development. But I just want to explain what does it mean by encapsulation also. Encapsulation means hiding the data from outside world. How can you achieve that? By declaring the variables as private. You should not declare the variables as public. If you want to allow the access for the variables, you should provide getters and setters. For that, then outside classes can use the value within it. So that is encapsulation. There are three more. Those are also theory part only. We don't use them in real time. That is also theory. I will show you. So in my website there is a blog page called Core Java. If you go to Core Java page, you can find OOPs category. So in the OOPs category, polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation. These three I explained to you. Abstraction, association, aggregation. There are three more. I will tell you what does it mean by abstraction. So abstraction means the way of converting real-time objects into real-world objects into the class. For example, creating a class vehicle and injecting properties into it. I told right, any real-time entity, any real-world object, you can convert like a class. The process of converting the real-world object into class is known as abstraction. So abstraction means you are describing the behavior, right? So the process of converting a real-world object into the class is known as abstraction. So here I declared a vehicle class and I tried to describe it. String color, string mode, something like that. So this process is known as abstraction. Then association and aggregation. What does it mean by association? Association is a relationship between two classes. Is a relationship. If I say dog extends class, I can say dog is a class, right? If man extends human, I can say man is a human. So always in subclass and superclass there is a relationship. Always subclass is a superclass. Like that you can say. You cannot say superclass is a subclass. You cannot say animal is a dog, because in animals there are so many types. There are cats, there are rats, there are lions, there are elephants. So there are so many things in animals. That is why you cannot say a superclass is a subclass, but always you can say subclass is a superclass. That means a dog is an animal, a man is a human. Like that you can say. So that is a relationship is known as association. Association means is a relationship between two classes. Aggregation. So these are the definitions only. If you are attending any interviews, no, if they ask, they will be helpful to you. That's why I am telling. Few people will ask, what are the root concepts in Java? Then you should tell all the 6. That's why I am explaining. In real time, these are not useful. It's just a theory part. What does it mean by aggregation? Aggregation means has a relationship between two classes. Public class employee and string name. So if I define a variable in class, I can establish has a relationship. I can say, right, employee has a name. If I declare ID, then I can say employee has an ID. If I declare age, I can say employee has a designation. Employee has an employee ID. Like that, for each and every variable, I can establish has a relationship, right? So that has a relationship between two classes is known as aggregation. Association means is a relationship. Aggregation means has a relationship. So this is all about root concepts in Java. There are 6 root concepts: polymorphism, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, association, aggregation, and this is all about them. I am pinging you the link in the chat window for everyone. Okay, just bookmark it somewhere or keep it with you and go through this article after the class. It will be helpful for your reference in future. If you have any doubts, you can unmute and ask now. That's it for today. Yeah, if you have any doubts or if you wanna tell something, you can unmute and ask. Then I will ask one by one. Kalyani?
Yeah.
So you are good, right?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah, tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me, Kalyani. I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm good actually. If I have any doubts, then I will ask you tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. Just go through it. You got that URL? I pinged you in the chat, right?
Yeah, I already saved it.
Okay then. Yeah, just go through all the articles one by one. Whatever I explained to you know, I wrote the same content here. What is polymorphism? What is inheritance? Everything.
I have a question. Those are enough for, automation for this?
Yeah. So these concepts are enough.
Okay.
Polymorphism, inheritance is enough. We will use only these 2 concepts in our framework development.
Okay.
And in Java, we need to cover few more things. We need to cover exception handling. We need to cover collections and all.
Mm-hmm.
The topics I will tell you in next session. What I am trying to say is in OOPs concept, these 2 are okay. Yeah, just go through it. Yeah, you can mute your mic now. Yeah, Nagarani.
Yes, Dave.
You're good, right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So yeah, now, did you get this URL in the chat?
Yeah, I'm just looking like I can look into that later.
Yeah, no problem. This is just for future reference. If you are trying to attend any interview, you can go there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay then. Yeah, you both can leave.
Okay then.
Yeah. Bye. We'll meet tomorrow at same time.
Yeah, sure.